Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Brian Hines. How you doing tonight?
Today we're getting it all of the action from May 2nd. This is when this is originally aired, of course. It was called Double Crossed at the time, but it aired as episode 1302 of OVW Rise this past week.
Indeed.
That is correct.
So yes, this was on Thurby, which we don't really talk about enough. Apparently that's a big day in Louisville.
On what?
So this was Kentucky Derby week.
Right.
And the different names have different names, have different days, have different names. And for the Thursday before the Derby, I love a good portmanteau, and they call it Thurby. So.
Okay.
Well, you say you love a good portmanteau. What do you think of Thurby?
It at least amuses me.
It must be a Kentucky thing because I don't understand half the words you just said, but that's fine.
Yeah. Did I mention I'm from Pikeville?
Several times, yes.
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 Join the OVW Podcast Connect, I guess, right? Are we still doing that? What's the update on that?
So we need to figure out
when are we
somebody.
sending this out? I need some hard answers in this election year.
You are right. And
you are actually you are the incumbent producer.
I'm indeed.
But a lot of people.
I'm not running for. I'm not standing for re-election.
Your replacement is gaining a lot of momentum, or your potential replacement is gaining a lot of momentum in the polls.
Wait a minute. I mean, I'm not standing for election. This is not like a democratically elected position.
Well, the debate's coming up,
in.
so you better prepare.
How are you going to debate somebody who doesn't speak? We're referring to producer Malachi P.S. Woodard, by the way.
Oh, yes. I just noticed that he is doing the Nixon victory fingers.
Unlike some people I know, Malachi isn't a crook.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's some subtle rhetoric you got going on there. Tell me, have you...
This, yeah, we got it. Malachi, that wasn't a good joke 40 years ago. We got to cut that one.
Wait, am I on the right podcast?
I don't know what's going on.
Because
it's
I don't
summer
understand what
vacation.
either of you guys are talking about.
We're in the Rodney Dangerfield podcast now or something?
Hey.
What is this?
I'm not sure what's going on. I seem to be an elected official all of a sudden. Yeah, we need to find somebody to rock.
We don't tell we don't tell jokes about the DA on here, bro. We don't tell jokes about the domestic assault on here.
No, you're right. That was wrong of me, and I do apologize.
Yeah. Just while we're here.
Rough start.
Yeah. You want to take us away, Brian Hyde?
Join the OVW Podcast Connect and get free stuff. If you send us your address, we will send you tiny, shiny things and trinkets and stickers and whatnot.
Yes, we have all of them. We do need someone to... We need to get on a schedule of actually writing things for this.
Like what, recipes?
I mean, recipes are fine. We just need to figure out what we want to say that is written down rather than spoken.
I was just going to write some random notes to people.
That would be fun. That would be good. We can do that. But yes, the whole point of this is that we were supposed to start sending out like an email every week that talks about things. Of course, with no live currently in Davis Arena, that does make it a little hard.
Yeah. That would make any emails or meetings that could be emails rather slim. So
a ton of tour dates coming up.
That is true. There are plenty, actually, and I wanted to talk to you guys about some of them. Let's get through the ones that we know first. Mm-hmm. Cheswick, Pennsylvania, August 10th. Cincinnati, Ohio, August 16th. That is a Friday, by the way, just so you know. The rest of them, most of them have been Saturday shows, such as Warren, Ohio on August 17th. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, August 18th, and OVW pay-per-view OVW Fight Night at Appalachian Wireless Arena in Pikeville, Kentucky, August 31st, featuring Kevin Nash, Victoria, and the Boogeyman. And lastly, as far as that goes, Longport, Indiana, September 7th, 2024, and that is a free outdoor show.
And of course, we'll always have the latest news about the OVW Dana's National Tour. Who knows what could pop up over the summer? More dates, more people. Who knows? But we'll be...
Expect the unexpected.
We'll be like the 5th or 6th to know. and then we will let you guys be the 8th and 9th as we report it right here on the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Sometimes we get it shortly before the poster drops on social media, but
as far as TV was concerned, so I thought that's good enough for me. But I do have a question. Have you guys heard anything about them being at the Kentucky State Fair?
I, in fact, did see a post on social media.
I did too.
I don't know that I've seen OVW report it themselves yet.
I hadn't either, and that's why I asked you guys, because from what I saw, and take this with a grain of salt. I don't know. I just was scrolling through earlier, but they're doing the post
Looked like 3 shows.
and inferred that they were
The all-time great Kentucky traditions. I'm somewhat of a multi-time champion myself at the Kentucky State Fair.
belching contest.
No, I did a lot of 4-H, different 4-H
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
Most notably had a few years with the Blue Ribbon Ham, and then you have to write a speech about that at the end. I think I canned it 2 years in a row. I think I basically said the same thing 2 years in a row.
Really, there's
Time.
a cash payout? I was not aware.
See, that's why you got to run the gambit at 4-H. That's why you got to run the game. Is a lot of them are interchangeable things that you can do at the same time, and then you blow through those sweet $6 prizes. I think that the top prize is like $25. Like
Wow.
I think the purple ribbon.
Oh, I forgot blue was not the best outcome.
No,
at
blue
4-H.
blue is like grade A. Purple is like exceptional, like the best of it.
Goated in the parlance of the
goated
kids?
in the parlance of our times. Yeah, but I do love. In no joke, if there was an opportunity for us to go see OVW at the Kentucky State Fair, I would go. I love the Kentucky State Fair. I have for my entire life, basically.
So, being that I'm from Ohio, I have not had the chance to experience the Kentucky State Fair. Is that here close?
It's in Louisville. It's at the fairgrounds in Louisville.
Oh,
Which
Yeah,
would
there's
be,
literally a Kentucky State Fairgrounds, which is where
be the opposite side of where we turn it when we come to come from our studio here in lovely Lexington, Kentucky, to Louisville. So we would go.
Mind going to the Kentucky State Fair
They
and
got-
checking out some OVW?
They got this guy. They got this like 10-foot statue. It's like
is it of John Cena?
no, it's I don't know. I don't remember his
In
name.
all fairness, is it Muhammad?
No. I don't remember his name. It's like metal. Maybe it's ceramic now. Who knows? I haven't been in so long. But it's like a Kentucky State Farm thing, and it's a giant guy, and he talks to you because he can see you. And they have
What?
him over the loudspeaker.
Oh, it's like in that episode of
I
King
was
of the
gonna
Hill.
say they did this in an episode of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Which is how I not that I didn't already know King of the Hill was like tapped in, but like I felt specifically called out by that episode because this
What
is
does it say?
he can talk.
He can see you and he can say things to you.
So he'll comment on your outfit?
He's like he's like a wisecracker kind of.
like,
gentle country
hey,
humor?
man, I like your shirt. I had one of those when I was out of work. You're doing great, buddy.
And I think they've softened his image. It's a giant. It's a giant doll, like
Right, with a loudspeaker.
like what that you throw your voice with.
Ventriloquist.
Oh, ventriloquist.
Yeah, it's essentially a ventriloquist dummy.
and someone can see you, and
Yeah.
we'll do
Can do insult comedy for a little
Sure.
bit. Yeah.
It sounds, but owing mainly to the fact that I come from just about as far away from Louisville as you can get while still being in Kentucky. I've never been to the Kentucky State Fair at all.
No, it's a great time.
What?
Never once.
It's a great
That
time.
sounds
Heck,
like
I come from
something we
where
need to do.
where Hillbilly Days is, and I never went in childhood because my parents were, in their 50s and were tired and just never took me. So
I think I actually got introduced into left-wing politics at one point at the Kentucky State Fair.
there are a diverse number of opinions.
Yeah. This is strange. Come like looking back on it, I was thinking about this not too long ago. There was definitely a gear, so I
So
automatically
as to attract your attention.
Well, yeah, at that time definitely because I didn't think people like that really exist. I was 14, maybe 13.
Living on
14.
an island out in the
yeah,
boonies.
Yeah, so I didn't think people actually were allowed to dress like that in real life and go out in public even. You know what I mean? So
Brian, did you go to the Ohio State Fair? What's your fair of choice?
So I did go to the Ohio State Fair once growing up.
Where do they hold that? Or
That
does
is
it move around?
that is in Columbus, and so it is.
Columbus
it
is another beautiful, wonderful town.
It is.
I have so much fun in Columbus.
Yeah, it's a great place. I got a lot of family up there. As a matter of fact, some of my Columbus folks might be there for the Cincinnati show in a couple weeks. So I'm happy to help them get there, and hope that we can all reconnect and have a good time, because it's been a few years since we've seen everybody. But the one fair I went to the most, and if you're from Brown County, for where I'm from, if you're from the LBC, you know people go nuts for the Brown County Fair. I mean, literally everybody in the county rolls out for this thing. People wait all year for the food, save up and just piss away all the money, on rides and junk food and stuff.
And mirrors with band names on them.
Yes. Not so much anymore, but back in the day, yeah, there were plenty of them.
Yeah, Ohio, I think, was basically probably the capital of. I feel like Ohio, that's just like grows like wildfire across the prairie.
They were prominent. They were everywhere.
But you're, so.
Do we think there's
Not to interrupt you, sorry.
Do we think there's any chance that they may film a Rise episode during one or more of these? Because they're in August.
True.
And it seems like they need to do something to set up the stories for the 31st.
Also true.
I think that there might be, in all fairness, like a proper amount of taxes and ordinance and,
Red tape.
Yeah.
That they can't take cameras out there?
I mean, they could take cameras out there, but there's such a big difference between like shooting something on like an iPhone camera to review later and, like, legally speaking, shooting a television production.
True. And they may just not have had the time to, even if they wanted to do these, knowing they were going to do these shows, may not have had time to set that up.
Yeah, I mean, I just like trying to look at it as pragmatically as possible. Like, there's such a big difference between, I'm sure, even legally speaking, putting on a house show and putting on an episode of television. And then your traveling, lighting, cameras, it's a harder thing to do in execution than it is in conceptually. I guess
Sure.
that's all I would say.
Yeah, and you're probably right.
I don't know. I'm just a dweeb on the internet, bro.
But well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens when it gets closer to time. That's it was sometime towards the end of August, maybe even the week before Fight Night. It was somewhere in the August 20s, somewhere. I don't remember the dates of the fair itself.
Yeah, it's usually like 10 days, usually like the 12th through like the 25th, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, that
So,
sounds about right.
Yeah, somewhere in that general batting range. But we should go.
I think
a big
we're going to
fan.
have to go.
I'm
yeah.
a big fan.
I fully support this idea, yes.
They've got even just to, for me personally, walk back through and see the old 4-H stuff would be so much fun for me. Like,
Honestly, there's infinite numbers of Fan Zone Live things that we could do at the state fair that we pre-record and bring back to give the people who are non-local a taste of what these shows would be like, or at least what the fair would be like, even if we don't record the matches at all.
That
we gotta
sounds
get
great.
something really weird that's deep fried.
I'm going to eat a lot of weird deep fried things.
Okay.
I'm probably going to start with my one go-to at the fair. If they've got deep fried cheese on a stick, I'm hunting that down first. After that, it doesn't really matter. But if there's deep fried cheese to be had,
You had that at this show, actually. The show that we're about to review.
I did, didn't I?
Yes.
You sure
It's
did.
not a
yes.
That is not a coincidence. This is not a bit. This man.
No, that is a lead-in. Not even a lead-in. It's just random.
That's just
my,
a thing that happened.
That's my behavioral pattern when it comes to fairs and festivals, is to seek out the fried cheese on a stick.
You had brought me a corn dog, and I assumed that you also had a corn dog, and I looked over and
That's right.
was like, what is that? Like, because I had never, I mean, it makes sense, but I had never been exposed to deep fried cheese on a stick. Like,
yeah.
I never really thought about it.
I mean, I've had cheese sticks. How are these different than a cheese stick?
It is breaded with corn dog batter,
Yeah.
and it's like it's like string cheese almost. It's like
Yeah, I
you know,
would say
about
it's like
that
a really,
long.
really
or-
creamy mozzarella.
Yeah.
They probably put it in cold as
Uh-huh.
heck. And And then, it kind of batters around it. But it was good. It was really
yeah.
exceptional.
Wow, they should have sent a poet. I really want one of those now.
I'll have to
don't
write you a
worry.
haiku about fried cheese on a stick. That's a hobby of mine.
Don't worry. If we're going, I'm sure it won't be too hard to track down.
No, and I will put in the effort.
Okay, here you go. Haiku. Fried cheese on a stick. Man, there.
Because, the last line's supposed to be reflective, right? In a way.
Yeah, and it was. I love that stuff, dude.
575.
Yeah. 575,
Yeah.
and then, encapsulating. It's supposed to, circle back around, right? A little.
I
That's-
mean,
But I love that stuff,
textbook answer, probably yes, but I like to play around with the rules a little bit as far as that goes.
The only time I've ever written haikus was in, 4th grade, whenever you're doing in Kentucky, at least, that's when you do one of your big writing portfolios.
Yeah.
And they
It
just
used to-
basically
when I was a
teach
kid,
you.
it was every year we all had to do big writing. That was the age of Kira.
Well, that's whack.
It was.
I don't know what that is.
Speaking
You're
of
fine.
old-time Kentucky stories, Tiny Brian.
Oh wow! I feel an ad throw. Here it comes. There's an ad throw. I sense it in the air.
Well played.
Got to do the.
Action from last Thursday right after this.
There we go.
Wow, that cool and refreshing beverage that you're hearing Brian Hines open is brought to you by Blacklight Moon Productions, Bluegrass Homefront, Kentucky Music and Stories. I've suddenly gotten crazy busy with work that doesn't have anything to do with anything you hear, or else we'd already be recording for it. This is kind of what always happens, but hopefully things will calm down in my actual day-to-day work life again soon, and we can start actually recording this and, other things. I feel like we have a whole network, and we only have two little nodes, and one of those nodes has been asleep for a long time. I feel like we need some more stuff on the network.
I mean, you know that I'm always down. There's a few Degrassi.
If your node's sleeping, you might want to see a doctor and get that checked out, man, because that doesn't sound healthy.
Oh, I thought that was like a car part.
Can, I don't know, go fast on the interstate. I don't know.
That's near the capacitor, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good.
Bluegrass Homefront, this wandering into this weird, is brought to you by Bluegrass Homefront at bluegrasshomefront.com. Now I'm going to throw out of the break back to the OVW podcast already in progress.
All right, folks. My name. I didn't think I got this one in this one. Oh my goodness gracious.
Malachi
How are
called
you-
an audible.
How are you folks doing tonight? Thank you for joining me at the OVW Podcast Fireside Chat. My name is Jack Minox. This is Tiny Brian. This is Brian
I'm Tiny
Hines.
Brian over here off
What the
camera.
hell, man?
You wanna know a secret? On Wednesday night, I did the same thing. I was you were having a conversation, and I was like, "What do you think about that, Tiny Brian?" And then Tiny Brian went, well,
I remember.
and then you kind of looked at me, and I was like, man. I thought about copping to it in the instant, but I decided to save it until the more, the show that's just us friends here.
Yeah, there's nobody
Yeah,
watching, so we're all
unofficially
here.
speaking.
So, all right, let's jump into the replay.
For the record, there are a couple people watching, but
Who is-
I don't know. We don't talk about it on
No,
this
no,
show,
no,
but I don't
no,
want to ignore them either. I did say
wanna
no
know.
one is watching. wanted to
I
be
am
accurate.
surprised that people have come to join our nonsense so early in the week and didn't wait till Monday morning for their Monday morning nonsense. So,
Yes,
good
we do
for
go
you.
live and do this on YouTube every Sunday evening now.
yeah,
yeah,
and whoever you are, thanks for joining.
Yes.
and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. Let's get into this thing we just
We've
got
already
into a
we've
couple
already
months ago.
we've already been swerving all over the interstate on this one.
Yeah,
But
and
you know
that's
what?
okay.
Sometimes that happens whenever you guys you get comfortable. You're in vacation mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's summer vacation. Next week, by the way, just as a little heads up, is we're going to review that pay-per-view called Independence Rage.
next
Because
week.
that is the last of the pay-per-views that have happened in 2024. Then, if it continues, then we see what comes next as far as episodes of Roz. Just since we're here in the unofficial studio.
We
So.
I have to come up with something.
Oh, there's always stuff to find. This is basically the same because they did broadcast it live. For the broadcast,
That's true.
it was
That's
meant to
true.
be
This
broadcast.
is the
so
one.
we do
This
see
is
the
the one
full
that did go out on a Thursday
Yes,
already previously.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
but it wasn't shown in its entirety. Remember, they were having all those problems on Thursday itself. So this is still the first time it's really been shown on Thursday.
I'm gonna bring in some old John Cosper articles and pass them off as my own and record them here and put them on the feed.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
No, the man can't be touched. I'm convinced. The man flat out steal from him.
Let's not do that either.
Passes old articles off as mine.
Let's not do that.
I'm incredibly jealous. I'm
Okay,
incredibly
well, let's-
jealous of his writing.
Oh,
talent.
rightly so.
I'm incredibly jealous of his writing.
Brian, what was the first match of Double
So
Cross?
the first match they showed from Double Cross was the Rush Division Championship match between the future Will Austin and the star of the show, Star Rider. This title had been vacated by Hoda Pesos due to injury, I believe, if I remember correctly, at the
Yes,
hands
right.
of Will Austin.
Right.
Yep.
So Will Austin was very much all about trying to win this, so much so that he took Hoda Peso out of commission for a while. But Star Rider, being the star of the show that he is, shout out to Star Rider, by the way, was not going to take this lying down. And that was the first match of the evening. And it was a banger right off the bat.
You ever wonder what Star Rider looks like without his mask on? Me neither.
No.
Me neither.
Anyway, let's talk about why they kicked this off with a championship match. It's weird that this feels like, is it all just, is every bit of this just that level of...
Pay-per-view quality on, this kind of show is important. People understand, especially casual fans that probably showing up to an event like this, understand what a belt means.
Right.
Before
Well,
they
sure.
understand anything else, they understand good guy and bad guy, and they understand a belt is important. So to slot this out in the very beginning, very, very important, just starting it off hot. You got to start it off hot, baby.
I guess a pay-per-view would be 3 hours long, too, and you're not doing this. This is just 2 hours. So... two broadcast hours, even.
Yeah. They ran into a lot of technical issues that night. So I don't remember how long we were actually there versus how much wrestling we saw. Because a lot of this, what we saw on replay, was pieced together eloquently so.
Yes.
Yes.
But was definitely, I know that it was a rough night for them. You could sense it a little bit.
Right. I know there were dark matches that eventually made it into Overdrive.
Right.
But I don't think we actually lost any matches that were contended. I think they all made it into something.
I'm a little behind on Overdrive. What dark matches showed up there?
Well,
that
that
we
was
didn't
months
see here?
ago. They didn't show those this week. That was the week of that pay-per-view. They
Right,
showed those
but
matches.
can you answer that question?
I know. I mean, off the top of my head, I think there was the squash match that.
That was the one I was
Jack
specifically referring to.
They may not have showed that at all because that was literally like 30 seconds.
Yes.
And I will go back to a point I contested at the time. I don't think that was a squash match. That was character. That was
Character advancement?
yeah. That was a totally different thing than a squash match.
Like a
Well, I'm certainly ignorant here, so.
like
No,
a
no,
vignette
no.
performed live in front of a studio audience?
Maybe something like that, but just Jack Vaughn watches tape, knows how to play the system, knows how to play the game. Knows what in the world of wrestling brass knuckles mean, knows what in the world of wrestling a ref distraction means. That's
And
smart.
was just ready and a veteran.
Yeah, and that is something completely different to a squash match, in my mind, at least.
Well, like I say, I don't have a subtle grasp of the terms, so I certainly could be using them incorrectly.
By any other, with a pairing of any other two dudes in any other situation, you would probably be right.
Oh, well, okay. That'll give me at least a little hope.
Yep.
But yeah, so that may be the only thing that just fell in a hole and never made it to air is that sketch, we'll call it then, or short match.
Match.
Sure.
Match. But
Where
I think we're still on bout one.
We are. It was a hard fought match on both sides. Will Austin takes the victory, puts Star Rider in the future four.
The bridge figure 4 that he has, his
Yes.
finisher that he's been
Which
able to make very effective.
If I remember right, put Hoda Peso out.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
So he's lethal with that. I hope
we saw Hoda Peso interfere in this match.
We did.
Or try to change the outcome, but fail to.
I loved this. This was for me a long time coming as a Will Austin guy. Got to get that picture. I can't. I woke up this morning with all my clothes on, my shoes still on. Can't remember what I did yesterday, but I had a picture of me and Will Austin somewhere. Stuck.
I have a digital version of it. If nothing
stuck
else.
in my shirt pocket, so we might have to post that on Instagram.
I think we can arrange some of those pictures to go to Instagram.
Oh, I've got it in the other room.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was doing, but gee whiz, I had
I
a
remember.
headache this morning.
It was we had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys did.
You seem to too.
We all had a
I'm
great
good.
time. I tried. At one point there was discussion of us doing karaoke version of.
Wait,
Rawhide.
hold on. Let me guess. Was it Stand By Your Man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been there before.
Anyway, so Will Austin, new Rush Division champion after the Double Cross pay-per-view.
Did I do something to Will Austin? That picture he was flipping me off. Yesterday, did I make him mad yesterday?
I mean, have you met Will Austin? You have met Will Austin. You don't have to piss him off.
That's kind of in
He
his
is
nature.
filled with rage and will expel it at anyone, even someone who has attempted to get him pushed, such as yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I have photographic evidence to prove it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
He is all ambition and no loyalty. That is the Will Austin we are being presented just now.
I just thought we were friends, but
See, there it is. No. Will Austin takes the win there. And
It's all right,
wins
man.
pretty much straight up, right? There was no shenanigans here other than
No.
the
Bridging.
shenanigans were on the baby faces. The shenanigans were on the baby faces.
they
the heel
failed.
won straight up.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's true. It's not often that way. It's usually the other way around.
Should be that way more often.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing Hoda Peso back in action pretty soon. I know that he's itching to go and get back into it again, so we'll just have to wait and see when. But I know he's raring to go. He said so.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll lose no momentum. He'll lose no love.
No.
No, we will always love Hoda Peso.
Match number 2 here.
Batch. We're making cookies.
Well, yeah.
Match number 2. What is it, Chapman?
Carson Drake versus Cal Hero for the OVW Media Championship. At this time, a pretty new belt. Delineated, of course, from the Kentucky Country Boy Heavyweight Championship.
Carson Drake accompanied to the ring by Shalance Royale and Ari Alexander.
Everybody knows from the very beginning of this, Ari and Shalance, my favorite two women's wrestlers. I would, if I was booking the thing, would have done a tag team championship, if for nothing else other than to just give to them. And like I get that that's antithetical or whatever, but they would have been great in building a division around until you had a division to actually build someone to take it off of them. They would have been fantastic. Anytime I get to see them on screen together, I love it. Unfortunately, this time they're with Carson Drake, but by this point they had given Carson Drake a couple of comeuppances. And he stupidly, I guess 2 weeks before maybe, had asked for them to join him yet again at ringside here at Double Crossed.
Pretty sure this is also the segment with the origin of the "It's super small."
Yes, this would be whenever they found out Carson had some didn't have enough downstairs.
Right.
Needed a little bit of help. But here it's just, I think, looking back on it, maybe the story had gone on like 2 weeks too long. But you have to have Carson Drake on a card like this outside in front of casual fans. You get the girls involved to beat him up, and you have Cal Hero looking ever so clean. and it's just like a lot of fun. And at Derby days, at a waterfront park, casual audience, blah 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 blah. It's wrestling that makes sense.
I'll tell you what didn't make sense. I don't think anybody there expected to see or wanted to see Carson Drake's bare behind.
Well, speak for yourself. Well, he wasn't as popular as Mahal Shira that night.
Well,
You're
that
right. But he
That's
had.
true.
I'm sure he had his fans. I'm sure he had his fans.
I will never forget what that lady had to say about the photo booth.
I try to forget every day.
But Cal Hero takes the victory.
It's the summer of Cal, baby. I really do think I am so sad that this thing has happened, that we got pushed back on 6 weeks worth of storyline at least at OVW, because I think that, as I've said before, this last little bit has been about reaffirming to the fan base who the next stars are going to be, the top level stars are going to be. I think it's Luke. I think it's Tony Evans, as we see later on here at this night, and I think it's Cal Hero, and I do think that Cal Hero's track kind of got derailed, set back, had a little bit of a delay, maybe because of the circumstances that Davis Arena finds itself in right now. So don't know how else to put it, unfortunately, but I really do think that, Cal wasn't
Heard that once Carson tried to choke both Shalonce and Ari, they turn on him in the ring and give him an open-handed slap in the face, which he clearly deserved from both of them.
the most devastating move in wrestling one can get, really.
Yeah.
Next match here, Tiny Brian.
Oh, sure. I'll announce one. This is an an Arkansas strap match whose rules differ from a traditional strap match you might have seen in Connecticut or Jacksonville-based promotions, where instead of touching the four corners of the ring in succession in order to win, you just a normal, but you got to do it while attached to this strap, no DQ, and you can use the strap at any time that you can kind of get enough of it to hit somebody with it. And this is Shotgun Tony Gunn before he joined the Revolution versus
Real one.
Real One.
Like the last good Tony Gunn babyface moment, really.
Right.
The end, the capstone of the Tony Gunn babyface run.
In fact, when Tony finally told, I believe he actually told Cal, speaking of, exactly why he did what he did, I think he cited this as, this run with Real One, which was not a championship run. He was not getting his rematch, not getting his stuff. Instead, he was doing this work with arguably an outsider, and he felt like it wasn't what he deserved to have. And that was, to hear him tell it at least, that was part of his turn to the Revolution.
Well, and now that the whole thing seems to be over with, and we're just here on the Monday night show, Enzo's kind of the shit. Enzo kind of sucks.
I mean, he has one great promo that he'll do every time he looks at you.
Tony,
It's the equivalent of you saying that you're from Pikeville.
it's a testament to Tony Gunn that he was able to keep any momentum going, any interest going in that feud, along with Enzo. It's a testament to how well Tony Gunn is loved inside of the Davis Arena faithful, and the universe of Ohio Wrestling. And it also means that, boy, there was nothing else they could do with him other than him to join the Revolution, because he drug Enzo all the way through that thing. He had no reason as a babyface to go after any title championships at any point. He was just going to be kind of hanging out with the same people. Tony Gunn needed to turn heel after the Enzo thing. I'm going to be 100% honest.
Well, because he was on the Team OVW last year. It's just more of the same for him if he just stays. Last year it was the faction. Now it's the Revolution.
I figured he would have taken some time off and spent some time with the new young gun.
I think in the world of OVW, Tony Gunn is such a stalwart that in a better position, and people love him more when he doesn't miss shows. because he's like, I'm here every week, you know. Like, I just think that that's the character of Tony Gunn, is something of loyalty.
So, who here thinks that he was one of the masked men that we see later? Do we think he was already a member of the Revolution here?
No.
Didn't really get that vibe, but I mean, what do I know?
I don't believe so.
If I remember correctly, somebody here did see Crixus at this event.
Yes, this was the first time I had seen Crixus in several months since which pay-per-view? Yeah, he was at the Nightmare Rumble back in January. We hadn't seen or heard from him since, and I was out away from the ring, doing things like just talking to folks and getting fried cheese on a stick, and I happened to see him, and I walked up to him and I just kind of said, "Hey," and he just turned around and looked at me. So I didn't say anything until the 6-man tag match with the mystery third man a few weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way to Davis Arena, we had just made the last turn to get to the arena, and I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, guys, the third man's Crixus."
He really did just drop that on us, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I did forget about that. I tried to block it out. This was the first in a long line of Brian Hines beating the Crixus. Fantastic job. But, now Crixus is such a publicly, outwardly facing buffoon. Your time.
Wow, brave words, Mr. Oaks.
Your time out. You were trailing him during this very secret time. While he was really putting together the revolution.
Is it possible that...
No, we'll save that for the Wednesday show. I'm not going to do kayfabe on here.
Is it possible that your fellow host is, secretly been aligned with the revolution this whole time?
He's Deep Throat. He's the man on the inside.
I figured you wouldn't just tell me if I asked. So, anyway, let's move along.
Woodard and Bernstein.
Yes. Thanks to that guy for bringing down the Nixon administration. Everyone in my whole life has wanted to call me Woodward.
Yeah, like Bob Woodard.
I have only one W in my last name.
I know how peeved you get about that, so I think moving forward, randomly, I will tell people to, if they ask me where you are, I'll say, "Oh yeah, our producer is Brian Woodward. You should go talk to him," and just misinform them, so you are constantly annoyed by people who don't know any better.
Moving forward, what's the opposite of randomly? Intentionally?
Yeah.
Yes.
The OVW Tag Team Championship triple threat match between Tustin Change, the Overman with Shannon the Dude, and Beaches and Cream here.
This version of the Overman is the last breath of the Overman, because it's after Joe Mack went back to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's Shannon the Dude with Human Thumb,
Adam
Revolver, and Bo Amir, they spend most of the time talking about his performance at the Nightmare Rumble.
And we really haven't seen heads or tails of Bo Amir since this.
Yeah,
No.
these 2 appearances. I think we saw him on one Thursday night besides this.
I don't believe he's on the roster anymore, is he?
No.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. It's like, this is the iteration of the Overmen where it's like Larry, Curly, and Curly Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's a Three Stooges reference,
Yeah.
Chapman.
I don't know what the replacement third stooge, Curly Joe. Okay.
right.
I think of the replacement third stooge as Shemp.
Hey,
but
you shut your mouth. Shemp's the man.
Nah, Shemp is he might be my least favorite of the Three Stooges.
That's fine. More for me.
All you can eat Shemp.
No, thank you. Let's move on.
So,
Tustin Chains do take the win here. Let's get
Tustin
that out of the way.
Chains do take the win.
Yeah, moving on.
And Tony Gunn does win the Arkansas strap match, if we didn't mention that previously.
I think we did.
Yeah. What?
Oh, the Testament, the Arkansas strap match. I just didn't want to forget about it. I'm glad that we got reminded of it and that we gave the finish. We wanted to
You're
remind
right. Yeah,
everybody
we
of the
always
finish.
want to say the finish, and
Yeah.
we may not have. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shira comes out at one point and tries to beat up Tussin or Beaches and Cream because why not?
Well, I mean, they had been attacking the Golden Lions for weeks, and they had that barroom brawl match.
And this is right at the pairing of Super Z and Shira, or right
No,
prior
this is
to
just
the pairing?
prior to Super Z, if I'm not mistaken, had a overdrive match earlier in the evening.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
that would
don't
make
think
sense.
it was anything. I think it was just another
Yeah,
enhancement
he
match.
was there by himself because I ran into him out in the crowd afterward, and there was a little boy that came up to him that had like a diorama that he made, and was so worried about, would Super Z sign his diorama that he
What was it a diorama of?
wrestling.
Okay.
Oh, so like a ring and Super
Yeah.
Z in there flying or
Well,
something.
it wasn't him in there flying. It was honestly, I'll have to go back look through my photos. I've got photos, a lot of photos from Double Cross. But this little boy had this diorama, and he just kind of held it up. And of course, Super Z, being the friend of the community that he is, thing and all that, because that's just how.
Careful
he
where you
rolls.
point that thing, man. I don't need my cameras messed up.
I'll
that
do what I
that
can.
sign has power.
Only if you know how to use it. Only if you're Super Z. I do not know how to use it, so I do not have that kind of power.
Is this where Tussin Chains won the championship for the first time?
It is.
It is. It is.
And they still hold them to this day.
They
Yes.
do. They do.
I actually
So-
missed this match that night. I was off talking to other people. That was about the time I ran into Crixus, actually.
Okay. Okay. Now we're really nailing down the timeline of events here.
Yeah, we are.
What's up next? The ladies' match?
Yep. Next is the women's four-way tornado tag match.
Run down. Let's run down the teams.
Sure, that would be America's Sweethearts, who we miss. I think this may have been the last time we saw them.
We do miss them. We miss you, America, sweethearts.
That might be true. That might be true.
What I in my notes have called Bad Girls Red, Tiffany and Ellie, and Bad Girls Blue, Layla and Hema, and Freya the Slayer and Hollywood Haley J. Those are your four teams.
This is of course the blown kiss of doom match.
Yes, because instead of it being just a one fall to a finish match, it is an elimination match.
Right. Right.
So every time a team gets pinned, they are eliminated, and we go until there's only one team left.
America's Sweethearts was eliminated first.
Which
Right.
we both thought that they were hopefully going to win it. Or at least I did.
Yeah, that was a pipe dream. We were stupid.
Yeah.
Freya and Haley are eliminated second.
Right, leading to what everybody was concerned about, that it was Bad Girl versus Bad Girl.
Then, looking back on it here, Layla and Hema versus Tiffany and Ellie. Hema, of course, kept her allegiance to Tiffany, leaving
the bitter end.
Yeah, leaving Layla as the odd woman out. Layla, of course, ejecting her from the company for the foreseeable future. And what loser leaves town match, right? Championship versus career match,
Right.
more specifically.
Right.
Yeah, this was kind of the moment of the night that everyone expected this blow off, this turn to happen. The turn did not happen. It was what it was. It was the finger poke of doom spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled one over on everybody.
I don't think that I hate even comparing it to that because that the finger poke of doom originally is like seen as a big insult to the fans. This was not necessarily like anything that made me lose faith in the booking or I found insulting. So it's tough to compare it to that, but that is the cultural marker most wrestling fans would know.
It swerved out of our expectation instead of into our, like it was, we expected them to come apart here, and for at least another couple weeks, they were more solidly together than ever after this moment.
And Layla and Tiffany, kind of the co-captains of the Bad Girls Club as it would be, are still in each other's hair, presumably, and I think we'll see another version of that match in Pikeville.
Yeah, still falling out from this.
So this brings us
Because
to
this is how Tiffany got her number one contendership to the women's championship. I guess it's important to say. Al would say that in a couple weeks on a rise. But yes, the fact that Tiffany pinned Layla meant she got that match at Independence Rage.
A lot of stipulation.
There's a lot going on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of snaps and fastens. But yes, I guess we're moving toward the main event of the evening. We've spent a lot of time here tonight, not necessarily talking about wrestling, but it's summer vacation, baby.
It's amazing how much time we spent talking about other stuff and not really talking solely about wrestling, but managing to still bring in all the main points while we talk about nonsense summer things.
And I'm thinking about those brats still.
Yeah, they're still out there ready to go.
Okay,
They're
so
broughting it up.
We were grilling before we went into the studio tonight, so
This is almost a food podcast at any given moment.
yeah.
I'm very
That's right, 'cause I don't
motivated.
play.
I'm very motivated by food. So let's move to the final match of the night here.
Right, and that has us champ certified Luke Curtis versus superior Tony Evans with Jay De Niro accompanying him to the ring. Special referee, of course, for this evening was EC3, who everybody knew was going to call it down the middle.
Oh, I think he did a pretty good job.
There would be no interference of any kind whatsoever.
No, I think it was pretty, pretty obvious that he took his job pretty seriously.
Yeah, I mean, that sleeper,
Yeah,
he meant that.
textbook.
Yeah.
Textbook refereeing.
And of course, this was for the OVW Heavyweight Championship.
And he just wanted a good, clean match. He didn't care who won at the end of the night.
No, had no motivation.
No ulterior motives, no scores to settle.
I do think he was a little hard on that Luke Curtis kid.
I mean, he did grab him in a sleeper and then
I do
hold
think
him
he
up.
was a little hard on the Curtis kid, but I don't know why.
Well, he was disloyal, I guess. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
as from EC3's point of view,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
he was
about
an
that.
overman.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think this may have been one of the first times we see the loaded baked potato glove fail.
No, we've been it
had been
it's
happening
been
before
fudged
this?
up before this, yeah.
Well, failure is dependent on your definition of it, and if your definition was to take out Luke Curtis, then yes, it was a failure. But if it was, hey, it'd be awesome if EC3 got knocked in the head with the loaded baked potato glove, then that is not a failure at all.
I just assumed Jay De Niro's intention was to hit Luke Curtis. So by that stance, I call it a failure. But you're right; it still served a purpose. It's
It
not
did.
like it went to waste.
It certainly did not.
Not
But-
like that. Those bratwursts out there.
They will not go to waste, I promise. Yeah, sort of a fair match.
No,
Unfortunately, not.
No, I mean, you've got superior Tony Evans, who has been known to bend the rules here and there. He's got an insurance policy by the name of Jay De Niro, who has been known to help him do that. EC3 got pissed enough to where he stopped doing phone promos from the house, and he actually came down to the ring and was going,
Oh, what a golden era that was, right?
right.
oh wow, that was a fun time to do this podcast. He made him. The masked men show up here at this
Yes.
point to help ensure that Luke loses. They again do not touch Ethan. EC3 is left untouched, but they do ensure Luke loses.
That was their MO for a while. That was what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, one of the more shocking moments of the last year, Tony Evans walking away as heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
OVW. Well deserved. I mean, I really, he's the second piece in the crown for me. Luke, Tony, Cal Hero. Gotta be champions by all in 2024.
There is no one on the whole roster who gets a crowd reaction that Tony Evans gets when he
No.
comes out.
No, not even close.
I mean, he does have to work for it. He has to get out there and tell us to hush and yell and scream and be rude to the referee. But he gets the reaction that he's looking for. And so, yes, he definitely deserved to at least have it for the time that he had it.
Yeah. No, it was great. Good,
And,
Yeah.
of
good
course,
stuff.
he'll lose it to Crixus shortly as Crixus, the same night Crixus shows his allegiance to the revolution. So,
No, that wasn't the same night, was it?
oh yeah, that was yep. He won it at the
Won
main
it,
event of hour
won it in
one.
hour 1, came out and turned heel in hour 2, baby.
Oh, okay. I watched it as two different things. So
That's how fast things move here in the OVW.
sometimes things happen just like that.
All right, somebody take us away here.
I can do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
The OVW podcast, the 10th Carney Award nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling.
10th Carney Award winning by
Count
no
out.
show. Count out, baby.
We should figure out where the event should have been and go just stand there and call a 10 count. We'll get Daniel Spencer to come count it for us.
If we get Spencer to count it, it's going to take like a good 30, 45 seconds for him to count to
It'll
three.
be you'll be fine. We'll stand there. We'll watch him. It'll be fine.
Just make sure
We'll
he
bring
doesn't get 7 minutes.
This mess is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nuthouse Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is Jackman Oaks and Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi Woodard. P.S. is his nickname, apparently.
Malachi P.S. Woodard.
There it is.
Producing stuff.
Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. That would be me. Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. On Wednesday nights, and I don't think we mentioned this enough this week, catch the OVW podcast team as we host OVW Fan Zone Live.
Oh, that old thing?
An OVW fan talk show on the OVW Video Network.
We were busy with our other wheelings and dealings this week
were.
to bring that up.
After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate us 5 stars, and give us a review. You can also follow at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Threads, and all the way to the Kentucky Fairgrounds.
That would be probably the next place where you could catch us. Brian, Jackman, the producers. Love you guys.